Welcome to a video made by a blind person. Yeah, too blind to care what the visuals look like. Hi everyone, it's Anne, and welcome to the first ever Eyes Don't Work Wednesday. So what is this Eyes Don't Work Wednesday thing? It's the return of something that has gone by many different names. It was known as Life Beyond Blindness over on another channel. On this channel, it's taken on names like Sightless Sunday. Actually, I said it's had many names. Those are really the only two that it's had. Basically, it's a series about blindness and how there is life beyond blindness. In other words, just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't have a decent quality of life. Doesn't mean you can't, as the National Federation of the Blind puts it, live the life you want. If you have multiple disabilities, okay, maybe you're more limited. And even you, I want to encourage you to keep making the most of the life that you have and the abilities that you do have, because just because you have disabilities doesn't have to mean you can't be a productive member of society. And certainly, just because you're blind doesn't have to mean you have to have a pathetic life where you don't seem to have any purpose. That's where Life Beyond Blindness and Eyes Don't Work Wednesday comes in, to show how blind people do things, or to talk about how blindness can be a positive thing. I guess to encourage people who maybe are newly blind or going blind that this doesn't have to be the end of your life. This doesn't have to be... I mean, life as you know it just changed, but it doesn't have to end. You know, I could have kept this as Sightless Sunday. I could have just brought back Sightless Sunday, but part of the reason why I didn't is I wanted blindness in it, because I could do a whole separate video about how these terms, visually impaired, sight challenged, visually whatever, okay, I can't see anything at all. I'm not visually impaired. I don't think of myself as visually impaired. I, with no qualms about it, say I am blind. And Sightless Sunday and sight impaired whatever and visually messed up Monday and whatever. I could have come up with all kinds of things. First of all, there's no letter B day of the week. There's no day of the week starting with the letter B, so you can't call it Blind Blank Day. So I called it Sightless Sunday for a while, but I wanted blind or blindness in it. So what I've decided to do was call it Eyes Don't Work Wednesday, but kind of have the hashtag, if you will, Life Beyond Blindness still in it. The Life Beyond Blindness series, aka the Eyes Don't Work Wednesday series, I'm just going to take the whole Sightless Sunday thing out of it. First of all, Monday, Wednesday, Friday makes a lot more sense than Monday, Friday, and the random Sunday. And I'm already doing Monday and Friday videos, so I figured let's make it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and make it Eyes Don't Work Wednesday. And the series that is on Eyes Don't Work Wednesday, also known as Life Beyond Blindness, the Life Beyond Blindness series, is about how blindness doesn't have to be the end of anything good. In fact, I've been blind my whole life, and although I've had my share of negative issues, not a whole lot of it had to do with my blindness. That goes into stuff that I may never disclose on YouTube, but, you know, I had a teacher who used to say, and I think still does say to this day, just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't do. In some cases, I agree with that. In some, I don't. I think it depends on what you want to do. just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't drive. I think it sort of does. But just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't write emails, use a computer, use even an iPhone, go out and about, live a life that consists of more than sitting around being pathetic and depressed. Just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't have a decent life. That I do agree with. And my hope for the Eyes Don't Work Wednesday / Life Beyond Blindness series is to encourage people with that idea in one way or another, whether I'm demonstrating a computer program or an iPhone app, or I may end up enlisting help at some point, or else just describe really clearly a particular thing that I do want to make a video about, because so many well-meaning people offer a certain kind of assistance that they just don't understand. This is how you offer that kind of assistance. So I do want to explain, although what is the right kind of assistance for me could be the wrong kind of assistance to someone else, which I'll get into that in a different video. But the point is, I think I've made my point. Eyes Don't Work Wednesday is the return of the Life Beyond Blindness series, and the point of the Life Beyond Blindness series is to prove that there is life beyond blindness. Being blind is definitely a part of your life, and the more blind you are, the more you have to admit that and accept it. But just because you accept that you're blind does not mean that you have to accept that your life is over. It just means that you have to make changes in how you do things so that you can do things in a way that doesn't involve vision, because your vision's not squat anymore. So, with that introduction having been made, until next Eyes Don't Work Wednesday, this is Anne, here to assure people that there is life beyond blindness.